everybody, how's it going? I want to give a shout out to parents who just don't like each other. And I'll tell you, when I first got divorced, I was guilty of this because there were times I was disgruntled. But I think I did try my very best to ensure my daughters had a cohesive relationship with their dad. And even if I didn't like him, I don't think I ever influenced them to disconnect from him. I always would say, if you're angry at your dad, you should talk with him and tell him how you feel. And so I think I took that route, although it's been many years, and you can correct me if I'm wrong if you know who I am. But I want to talk about a situation in which I am very, very disheartened. So, my husband and I know a young couple. They are recently engaged and they will be getting married in about 2 years. And are they're a great couple. She has Her parents are divorced, so she has two sets of parents on her side. His parents are divorced, so he has two sets of parents on his side, so they have four mothers and four fathers. So in getting married, they have to really, really, really. And we told them, don't worry about us. We're just gonna show up and make sure everything's okay. But on her side, her parents do not like each other. Her parents had a short term relationship resulting in her pregnancy, and they were young. And I don't know, I didn't know them beforehand because I know these parents. And so, as far as I know, each one is someone I could sit in a room with and have a conversation. But her mom and dad are at odds, even regarding walking down the aisle together, adjacent to their daughter. Mom and dad can't be in the same room together. They try to arrive and depart parties so that they don't have to be in the same space. I am at a loss because this poor girl is so disheartened. And I feel her wedding is going to be lessened simply because adults can't put aside their differences long enough so this young lady can have a fantastic day, which is her day. And so when we were talking with them recently, I said, why don't you tell your mom when she's saying certain things about your dad, tell her it makes you sad and see what her reaction is. And if you say to her, Mom, when you call my dad XYZ, it breaks my heart. If your mom doesn't say, well, I'm really sorry about that, takes your feelings into consideration and stops spewing venom, that means she doesn't even care about your feelings. And she will always put herself first. And the same goes for your dad. If he can't share a space with your mom for a short amount of time walking you down the aisle, there's something going on here. And I said to my husband after we were gone, I said, how is it going to be if they can't get along for the wedding? Put aside differences for their daughter for one day. How is it going to be when they get pregnant? So and so wants to be in the room. She has the baby. She goes into labor and delivery and she's got hours at the hospital. What about their baby's first birthday? And all the other special occasions in which parents should be able to get along for the sake of their children. I mean, in my family, and I think I've talked about this before, my parents got divorced when I was 12, 13 years old. And all my mom did was talk crud about my dad for the rest of his life, even when he was gone. And I said to her, when you talk about him, you're talking about me, because half of me was created by this person. And it didn't matter what I said or what my feelings were. My mom still continued her rampage. And that is the worst place for a child to be in. When I met my husband 6 years ago, my stepson was 15 years old. And I knew what I was walking into, and I knew, being an ex-wife, having daughters who had a stepmom, I remember raising my girls and saying, as long as she's nice to you, that is most important to me. And when I met my stepson, I never said anything negative about his mom. I met her a couple of months into our relationship, and we sat, talked, and this and that. And then subsequent after that, within the years that followed, her and I would sit down and talk, and I'd say, what's the best way to step parent him, and what do you think I should do? And so her and I have talked. We have gathered for his birthday, graduation, etc. And it's always cohesive. And between my husband and I and my stepson's mom and his stepdad, we have all gathered together for his graduation. We all went out to dinner, sit, chat, do our thing, and that's just the way it is. So if you can't put aside your differences for your kids and be in the same room as your ex for a certain amount of time, it's got to say a lot about you and the relationship you have with your child. So anyways, that's all I've got, and I will be back.